Hola! Hello, welcome to our Spanish lesson for today. You're going to be needing some equipment to help you out today, so pause the video, go and fetch some paper to write on and a pen or a pencil to write with, and press play when you're ready to continue. Today, we're going to be practicing saying the names of the 9 planets and, of course, saying them in the right order away from the sun. And we're also going to be coming back to our knowledge of those really big numbers, and we're going to use those big numbers to help us to find out some more information about the planets. First of all, then, let's recap the names of the planets. Escuchad y repetid. Mercurio, Mercurio. Venus, Venus. La Tierra, la Tierra. Marte, Marte. Júpiter, Júpiter. Saturno, Saturno. Urano, Urano. Neptuno, Neptuno. Pluton, Pluton. Remember that Pluto isn't a proper planet anymore. It's been demoted to be a dwarf planet, but we're including it here because it's going to make our descriptive sentences a bit easier later on. Let's try again. Mercurio, Venus, la Tierra, Marte, Júpiter, Saturno, Urano, Neptuno, Pluton. So here are all our planets in the grid in the right order. Let's have a practice, all of us together, saying the planets in the right order, starting with the one closest to the sun, which is Mercury, and finishing with the furthest away one, which is Pluto. Are you ready? All of us together, here we go. Mercurio, Venus, la Tierra, Marte, Júpiter, Saturno, Urano, Neptuno, Pluton. Let's try it again. Mercurio, Venus, la Tierra, Marte, Júpiter, Saturno, Urano, Neptuno, Pluton. How did you get on? Shall we remove the words and see if we can still do it? There we are. Let's say them in the right order again, starting with Mercurio. Are you ready? Here we go. Mercurio, Venus, la Tierra, Marte, Júpiter, Saturno, Urano, Neptuno, Pluton. Very good. Once more. Mercurio, Venus, la Tierra, Marte, Júpiter, Saturno, Urano, Neptuno, Pluton. Very good. It's important that we know which one is closest to the sun and which one is the furthest away, because that tells us quite a lot about the characteristics of the planet and therefore how we can describe it later on. Remember that we also saw these two things that we'll find in the solar system. We have El Sol and La Luna. What was El Sol? That's right, the sun. And La Luna? That's right, La Luna is the moon. Now, do you know how the planets got their names? And do you know what else they've lent their names to? Did you know that the planets are named after Roman gods and goddesses? So, gods and goddesses from Roman mythology. And did you know also that they've given their names to some of the days of the week? A few of them in English, but nearly all of them in Spanish. You can see the Spanish ones just here to help you. So, what I'd like you to do is just to pause the video and see if you can think of which gods and goddesses gave their names to the planets, and then which days of the week go with which planets as well. See how you can get on. Pause the video and then press play when you're ready to continue. So, how did you get on? Do you think that you found a god or goddess for each planet? And have you seen the links with the days of the week? Let's have a look. So, the Roman god Mercury gave his name to the planet Mercury and Mercurio. Venus, the goddess of love, gave her name to Venus. Mars was the god of war, and he gave his name to the planet Mars. Jupiter was in charge of all the gods and goddesses, and of course named the biggest planet, the planet Jupiter. Saturn, the god Saturn, gave his name to Saturno and to Saturn. Then Uranus gave his name to the planet Urano. Neptune was the god of the sea, and he named the planet Neptuna. And finally, Pluto was god of the underworld, and he gave his name to Pluton or Pluto. Now, have you seen the names of the days of the week as well and how they link to the Roman gods? So, Mercury, his name was also given to the third day of the week, miércoles. Venus, well, Viernes is named after her. Martes is named after Mars. And Jueves is named after Jupiter, but it doesn't look very like it, does it? But Jupiter had another name. He was also known as Jove, and that's a lot closer to Jueves. And then Saturn gave his name to Sábado, and it's even closer in English. It's Saturday. And finally, the moon, La Luna, gave its name to Lunes, to the first day of the week. And actually, it's done that in English too, hasn't it, with Monday? That used to be Moon Day. So the planets are all interlinked with the Roman gods. They're interlinked as well with the days of the week. So here's the solar system, and we can see that the sun is in the middle, and all of the planets are traveling around in an orbit. On the right-hand side of the screen here, you can see the first four small planets. Mercury is closest to the sun, then Venus, then you can see Earth with the moon, and then Mars on the outside. And then on the other side, you can see the four bigger planets. There's Jupiter, Saturn with the rings. Uranus also has rings as well. Neptune, and right on the very edge there, you can see Pluto. So remember, their position in the solar system is going to give us some useful information about them. So here is a table with some information telling us about the planets. Now, it's giving us the temperatura. What do you think the temperatura is? It's measured in degrees centigrade, which will give you a clue. That's right, it's telling us information about the temperature of the planets. Now, what I would like you to do is to pause the video and see how many of these numbers you can work out. Remember that 100 or ciento is 100, mil is 1,000, and with these ones, if it has bajo cero, it means minus. It literally means below zero. So pause the video, see how many of these you can work out, and press play when you're ready to see some of the answers. So, how many of you managed to work out? Have you figured out some of those numbers? Let's have a look. So, first of all, Mercury says 167. 167. That's how many degrees centigrade its temperature is. Let's have a look and see how hot Mercury is. 167. 167. So Mercury is 167 degrees centigrade, very hot, because it's next to the sun. Now, Venus, it says 464. 464. How hot is Venus? Did you work out any of these numbers? It's 464 degrees centigrade. So even though it's not closest to the sun, it is a lot hotter than Mercury. And the reason for that, it has a layer of gas around it, which acts like a giant duvet and keeps it all warm. Now, the next one, La Tierra. The average temperature is 15. What number is 15? It's 15. So the average temperature on the Earth is 15 degrees. That's like a nice spring day, very comfortable. And what about Mars, Marte? It says 65 bajo cero. What temperature is that? 65 bajo cero. So it's going to be a minus temperature below zero. 65, minus 65 on Mars. And what about Jupiter? 110 bajo cero. 110 bajo cero. What's the temperature on Jupiter? That's it. It's minus 110, or 110 below zero. That is pretty cold. And Saturn, Saturno, it says 140 bajo cero. So what's the average temperature on Saturn? 140 below zero. It's getting colder all the time, isn't it? Then Urano says 195 bajo cero. What's the temperature on Uranus? It's minus 195. Really cold. Now, two more to go. We have Neptuno is 200 bajo cero. How much is 200? That's right, 200. It's minus 200. And finally, Pluto, 225 bajo cero. How many is 225? It's 225 degrees below zero. So, which planet is the hottest then? That's right, it's Venus, because Venus is very near the sun and has that protective layer that insulates it and keeps it very hot. And which planet is coldest? That's right, Pluto is the coldest. Why is it coldest? That's right, it's furthest away from the sun. It gets the least amount of heat from the sun. Let's have a look at some more information about the planets. So this time, we're looking at some information about the diametro of each planet. And the diametro is something that is measured in kilometers. So it's going to be quite a big number, isn't it? A big distance. What is the diametro of the planet? Have you met that word? In English, we say diameter. So diameter is a term used for circles, and the diameter is from one edge through the center to the other edge. Okay, one edge to the other edge, but crossing the center. And that's the measurement we've got for each of the planets. So again, what I'd like you to do is to pause the video, see how many of these numbers you can work out, and then press play when you're ready to find out the answers and see which is the biggest planet and which is the smallest planet. So press play when you're ready to start. Okay, how many of these have you worked out? Let's have a look and see which is the biggest and which is the smallest. So the diameter of Mercurio, of Mercury, is 4,879. So 4,879 is 4,879 kilometers from side to side through the center. Have you noticed that in Spanish they use a decimal point where we would put a comma, and also they put a comma where we would put a decimal point? So 4.879 is how we would write 4,879 in Spanish numbers. Now, Venus, it says 12,104. So 12,000 is 12,000, ciento, 100, cuatro, 4. 12,104 kilometers, and that is a lot bigger than Mercury, isn't it? Then the Earth, la Tierra, 12,756. So 12,000, 12,000 again. 700, 700. 56, 56. So the Earth is 12,756. Actually, that's really similar to Venus. Then Marte, Mars, 6,792. So 6,792. So Mars is about half the size of the Earth and Venus, isn't it? 6,792 kilometers. Then Jupiter. Now, we've already mentioned that Jupiter is the biggest planet, so this is going to be a big number. 142,984. So 142, 142,000, then 984, 84. So for Jupiter, it's 142,984 kilometers in diameter. Let's look at Saturno, because we know that's quite big too. 120,536. So 120 is 120, but then it's 1,000, 120,000. 500, 536, 36. So Saturn is 120,536 kilometers in diameter. Urano says 51,118. So 51, 51, 1,000, again, it's another big one. 100, 18, 18. So Uranus is 51,118 kilometers in diameter, quite a lot smaller than Saturn. Neptune, Neptuno, 49,528. So 49, 49, 1,000, another big one. 500, 500, 28, 28. So that one will be 49,528 kilometers in diameter. So Uranus and Neptune are almost the same size as well. And finally, Pluto, 2,390. So 2,000, 390 is 90. So Pluto comes in at 2,390 kilometers in diameter. They're interesting figures, aren't they? Which planet is the biggest one then? That's right, Jupiter is easily the biggest. And which is smallest? So Pluto is the smallest on our list, but if you're including just planets in the solar system, then Mercury is the smallest. So that's the list as it would look from biggest down to smallest. And it's very different to the other list, isn't it? It's not in the same order as the planets go away from the sun. They're all mixed up. So here are our planets again. Let's just practice them one more time. Are you ready? Starting with Mercurio. Here we go. Mercurio, Venus, la Tierra, Marte, Júpiter, Saturno, Urano, Neptuno, Plutón. Once more. Mercurio, Venus, la Tierra, Marte, Júpiter, Saturno, Urano, Neptuno, Plutón. Well done today. That was a lot of number deciphering to find out which was the hottest planet and the coldest planet, and to find out which was the biggest planet and the smallest planet. And that information is going to be useful to us next time as well. Muy bien, buen trabajo, and adios until next time.